The inheritance. The letter came on a Tuesday. It was dirty, with mud on it, and had a stamp, so old Elias didn't recognize it. He almost threw it away, but then he saw the writing. It was his grandfather's. His grandfather, Silas, had been dead for 11 years. Elias was just a kid when the old man lost his mind to memory sickness. Silas was a mapmaker, but near the end, he only drew maps of places that didn't exist. Elias opened the letter. Inside was a heavy, rusty key. It was tied to a piece of old paper with a red ribbon. The paper was a map, but it wasn't a map of any place on Earth. The land on the map was all wrong. The big continents were twisted and pulled apart. Strange bridges of land connected places that should have been separated by water. In the middle of the biggest continent, there was a giant, swirling sea, and right in the center was a big X. Under the map, in shaky writing, was a message: "Bring the key to the drowned bell. The tide waits for no man." Elias laughed nervously. His grandfather loved old boat things: compasses, sextants, ships in bottles. This was probably a silly old joke he made years ago and forgot. The key was strange. It was made of iron and had a head shaped like a snake. Elias held it. It was heavy and rough with rust. Elias was a normal guy. He worked for a shipping company, moving boxes and planning routes. He didn't believe in mysteries. He wanted to throw the key in his junk drawer. But the map, he couldn't stop thinking about it. He tried to scan the map into his computer, but every time, the picture came out broken. The land seemed to move and change. The ink bled into the computer like the paper hated being digital. It was weird. Elias decided to visit his grandfather's old house. Nobody had been inside since the old man went to the home for sick people. The key to the house was on Elias's own key ring. He opened the door, and dust flew everywhere. The house smelled like old paper. The walls were covered in maps, overlapping with tiny notes. But the most interesting thing was a big globe in the corner. It was fancy and beautiful, and it wasn't a globe of the Earth that Elias knew. It was the world from the parchment map. Elias walked closer and saw a small hole at the bottom. It was the shape of the snake key. His hand shook as he put the key in. He turned it. There was a loud click. A secret door opened. Inside was a small wooden box. Elias opened it. Inside was a compass. But it was not normal. The needle didn't point north. It pointed to a spot on the globe, right over the swirling inland sea. Under the compass was a piece of paper. It said, "The world you see is not the only one. The sea is a door. Find the bell, ring it, and come home." Elias felt cold. He looked at the globe again. He had studied geography. He knew the shape of every continent. But this globe was different. The countries had different names. The sea in the middle was shaped exactly like the key. He closed his eyes. The voyage. Elias opened his eyes. The compass was still in his hand, the needle steady and sure. He made his choice. He packed a small bag with clothes, food, and water. He put the map, the key, and the compass in a waterproof pouch. He locked up his apartment and drove to the airport. The flight to the coast took 3 hours. He rented a small boat at a dusty harbor. The old man at the dock laughed when Elias showed him the map. "That's not the sea I know," the man said. "But you go ahead. Young men need to learn their lessons." Elias ignored him. He set sail at sunrise. The compass guided him east. The water was calm at first, but as the day went on, the sky turned gray. The wind picked up. Waves crashed against the boat. Elias held tight to the wheel. He was scared, but he kept going. The compass needle never wavered. It pointed straight ahead, into the fog. By evening, Elias could see nothing, just gray mist all around. His map was useless. His phone had no signal. He was alone. Then he heard it, a low, deep sound. It came from below the water. It was like a bell, but it was sad and lonely. The sound made his chest ache. The compass needle started spinning fast. Then it stopped. It pointed straight down. Elias looked over the side of the boat. The water was dark, but deep below, he could see a faint light. It pulsed like a heartbeat. The bell sound grew louder. He took the key from his pouch. It was warm now. It glowed with a soft blue light. The key pulled in his hand, pointing to the water. Elias took a deep breath. He tied a rope to the boat and tied the other end to his waist. He put the pouch around his neck. He jumped. The water was cold. It shocked his body, but he swam down into the dark. The light below grew brighter. It was coming from a huge shape on the ocean floor. It was a city, made of stone and coral, towers and walls and domes. And in the center, giant bell, made of black metal. The key pulled him forward. His lungs were burning. He needed air, but he couldn't stop. He swam to the bell. It was bigger than his boat, covered in seaweed and barnacles. There was a hole in the side, the shape of the snake key. His hands were shaking. He put the key in the hole. It fit perfectly. He turned it. The bell rang. The sound was huge. It shook the water. It shook his bones. The city below him started to glow. Light poured from every building. The water began to swirl. A whirlpool formed around him. He was being pulled down into the center of the city, into a tunnel of light. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't think. Everything went dark. Finally, he died.